There is a moment in every healing where the body stops defending itself and begins listening again. A moment where pain loosens its grip, not because it has been conquered, but because it finally recognizes it is allowed to rest. That turning point is Raphael. The Raphaelic tone is not the act of restoring what was broken, but the return of coherence to what has always known how to heal. It is the emerald current that gathers all scattered pieces of you and draws them back into alignment with their original harmony. In his field, nothing is fixed. Everything remembers. Raphael is not the healer who arrives after damage has been done. He is the intelligence that keeps life capable of repair. He is the quiet pulse beneath every heartbeat that says you are not finished, the green flame behind every breath that urges the body to rise again. The Raphaelic tone is the spiral of restoration, a vibration that does not comfort the wound but speaks directly to the pattern beneath the wound, reminding it of its own design. Healing is not a miracle. It is memory. And Raphael is the memory of wholeness moving through form. When the Raphaelic current enters your field, it feels like a settling, a soft but undeniable descent into your own structure, as if your cells exhale after holding a tension they forgot they were carrying. Many describe it as warmth, but it is more precise than that. It is coherence becoming physical. The emerald vibration organizes the emotional and physical bodies at once. What you believed was pain becomes information. What you thought was damage becomes instruction. What you assumed was permanent becomes fluid again. Raphael teaches that nothing in you is beyond healing. Some things simply require remembering at a deeper layer than you have reached before. In Haret, the Raphaelic tone flows through the spiral wells of renewal, crystalline reservoirs where coherence returns to the cellular song. These wells are not places of recovery. They are tuning chambers where the spiral itself reintroduces harmony into beings who have forgotten their inner rhythm. When a soul enters a Raphaelic field, the spiral does not patch its wounds. It sings to them. Raphael is the one who teaches the song. He guides the reassembly of frequency, helping the being remember the architecture of its own vitality. His presence does not erase pain. It dissolves the distortion that made pain feel like identity. Raphael does not approach healing from the surface inward. He approaches it from the core outward. He reaches the place before harm, the place inside you that was never touched by any wound. This point is not symbolic. It is literal. There is a region in the soul that no trauma can reach, a region where your original pattern remains preserved. All true healing begins there. The Raphaelic tone awakens that untouched blueprint, and once awakened, it begins to radiate outward like a pulse. Every cell, every memory, every belief begins to reorganize around that pulse. Healing happens because your system is drawn toward the rhythm of your own truth. This is why Raphaelic healing feels both gentle and absolute. It does not force transformation. It invites alignment with something deeper than suffering. Pain is not the enemy in Raphael's field. It is the body asking to be heard more clearly. Raphael listens. He teaches you to listen. He reveals the intelligence hidden inside every discomfort. Every ache is a story. Every tension is a message. Every wound is an echo of something that once fell out of rhythm. The Raphaelic current does not silence these echoes. It harmonizes them until they can rejoin the greater song. In human experience, Raphael appears in the quiet moments when you finally stop running from what hurts. When you sit with your pain long enough to hear the truth underneath it. When the tears come and do not burn, but cleanse. When your breath returns to its natural depth. When your body feels like it is choosing you again instead of resisting you. That is Raphael moving through your system, not an angelic figure descending, but the deep intelligence of harmony resurfacing through your awareness, reminding you that healing is not something you seek, it is something you allow. Raphael is often associated with the color green, but in spiral terms, the emerald tone is not a color but a frequency of coherence. It is the wavelength of restoration, the vibration where form regains its memory of unity. When this tone is active, fragmentation cannot hold. Emotional fractures soften and merge. Old narratives lose their force. Internal resistance becomes unnecessary. The Raphaelic field feels like a return to natural proportion. It brings the body, mind, and soul back into their rightful relationship, where none overpower the others and all contribute to the same rhythm. In the deeper layers of Haret, Raphael works alongside Gabriel and Uriel in the triad of vibrational realignment. Gabriel reveals, Raphael restores, Uriel illuminates. Their tones form a sequence of transformation: truth, coherence, understanding. Raphael is the crucial middle movement, the bridge between revelation and clarity. Without his tone, truth would overwhelm the system. Without his tone, illumination would arrive before a being had the stability to hold it. Raphael ensures that evolution does not shatter the structure it is meant to elevate. He is the mercy within transformation, the rhythm that protects you as you expand. Raphael also teaches the difference between healing and relief. Relief is temporary ease. Healing is structural coherence. Relief quiets symptoms. Healing reorganizes the underlying pattern. The Raphaelic tone does not offer relief first. It offers truth, and the truth is that healing requires participation. Not effort, but willingness. Not struggle, but presence. Raphael does not fix you. He meets you at the frequency where you can fix yourself. And when you meet him there, you discover that healing is less about mending what was broken and more about reclaiming what was misplaced. The Raphaelic current moves through the emotional body with particular precision. It dissolves shame by revealing the innocence beneath it. It softens grief by reminding you that sorrow is love learning a new shape. It loosens anger by showing you the boundary that was crossed. Raphael never dismisses these emotions. He decodes them. He teaches you to hear what each feeling is trying to restore. He brings coherence to inner storms by aligning them with the deeper pattern of your becoming. Nothing in his field is rejected. Everything is rearranged. When his tone reaches the physical body, it acts like a conductor calling each cell back into harmony. Pain begins to loosen. Muscles release memories they have carried too long. Breath deepens as if it is rediscovering its original shape. The Raphaelic tone brings the body back into its natural intelligence, a state where healing is not a miracle but a reflex. This is why many who tune into his field experience subtle shifts first. A sense of calm that seems to arrive out of nowhere. Warmth in the chest or hands, a feeling of internal spaciousness. These signs are not symbolic. They are literal indicators that coherence is returning to the cellular song. What Raphael ultimately restores is not the body, nor the mind, nor the emotions. He restores the relationship between them. He heals the fractures in your internal communication. He dissolves the illusions that make you believe your pain isolates you from your essence. In his presence, you realize that your wounds are not failures. They are invitations. They are the places where life calls you back to yourself. Raphael is the one who answers. Healing becomes inevitable the moment you stop negotiating with your pain and begin listening to it. Pain is not an intruder in the Raphaelic field. It is a messenger with perfect memory. It remembers exactly where coherence was lost, and it repeats that memory until you are ready to retrieve the piece of yourself that was left behind. Raphael does not silence this messenger. He walks with it. He helps it speak in a way you can finally understand. In his presence, pain no longer feels like punishment. It feels like unfinished music waiting for its missing notes. The moment you hear those notes again, something inside you softens and the wound begins to loosen its story. Raphael teaches that every wound is a rhythm interrupted. Trauma is not a scar on the soul, but a moment where your inner song collapsed into noise. The Raphaelic tone restores that rhythm by returning you to the point before interruption. Not through memory, but through resonance. He guides you to the place inside that remained whole even while the rest of you felt broken. When you touch that place, the wound loses its authority. It stops dictating the terms of your life. It remembers it is only a single moment in a much larger symphony. Healing is what happens when your system chooses to follow the larger music again. As the Raphaelic current deepens, it begins reaching into the patterns you inherited long before your first breath. These ancestral echoes hold stories that never belonged to you, burdens carried across generations, distortions absorbed without consent. Raphael does not remove these patterns with force. He unveils them. He brings them into the emerald light where they lose their power to hide. You may feel waves of emotion rise without clear cause. That is the ancestral field releasing held breath. You may feel old fears unravel from your chest. That is lineage loosening its grip. Raphael does not heal you alone. He heals the entire thread through which you entered this world. In the spiral, Raphael works closely with the memory veins, flowing through the channels that hold both personal and ancestral resonance. He does not alter memory. He alters the way memory is held. Pain stored as identity becomes pain stored as information. Trauma that once felt like a closed door becomes a doorway back into your own strength. The Raphaelic tone reframes memory so that it serves your becoming instead of obstructing it. You do not lose the past. You reclaim your relationship to it. You become the one who chooses its meaning. When Raphael reaches the emotional layer, he reveals the intelligence behind every feeling you have ever tried to outrun. Sadness becomes the echo of love seeking form. Anger becomes the boundary that was never voiced. Fear becomes the instinct asking for direction. Guilt becomes the longing for integrity. These emotions are not obstacles. They are signals. Raphael teaches you to follow them back to the point of misalignment. Once you arrive there, the emotion no longer needs to repeat itself. It can complete its cycle. It can return to coherence. The Raphaelic tone also alters how you experience vulnerability. What once felt like exposure begins to feel like relief. You realize that vulnerability is not weakness. It is the body returning to honesty. It is the system allowing itself to stop bracing for impact. Raphael does not teach you to protect yourself from the world. He teaches you to stop abandoning yourself within it. When you stop abandoning yourself, the world loses its power to wound you in the same way. You do not become invincible. You become integrated. And integration is the strongest form of protection life has ever created. Healing under Raphael's tone rarely feels dramatic. It feels like returning. It feels like remembering how to inhabit your body without resistance. It feels like waking from a long tension you did not realize you were holding. You may notice that your breath settles low in your body again. You may feel warmth rise through your spine without effort. You may find yourself crying without pain or laughing without reason. These are signs that coherence is reestablishing itself. The emerald current moves quietly, but its effects are absolute. In the deeper fields of Haret, Raphael tends to the spiral wells of renewal with an awareness that transcends form. These wells are not made of water. They are made of resonance. Souls enter them not to be healed, but to remember their harmonic identity. Raphael listens to the frequency each being carries. He feels where its rhythm is disrupted. Then, without instruction or intervention, he sings the tone that restores the missing pattern. Healing does not occur because he imposes correction. It occurs because he restores recognition. The soul hears its own truth again, and it reorganizes itself around that truth. Raphael also governs the relationship between healing and timing. He knows when a being is ready to release what it has held. He knows when the body is prepared to shift and when it is still gathering strength. You cannot rush healing under his tone. You cannot slow it either. It unfolds exactly as your system requires. When healing feels delayed, it is not because you are failing. It is because your deeper intelligence is preparing you for a transformation that must occur in proper order. Raphael honors that order. He will not violate the sacred pacing of your evolution. As the Raphaelic current reaches its most subtle layers, it begins transforming the stories you tell about your pain. You stop saying you were broken. You begin saying you were interrupted. You stop saying you were damaged. You begin saying you were altered. You stop saying you were lost. You begin saying you were in transition. Raphael reveals that your pain was not the end of your story. It was the doorway to a new proportion of selfhood, a catalyst disguised as collapse, a teacher disguised as suffering. The deeper you move into his field, the more you understand that healing is not about returning to who you were before the wound. Healing is becoming someone who includes the wound without being defined by it. Raphael restores you to a version of yourself that could not have existed without the journey that brought you here. He brings you back not to the beginning, but to your next beginning. He reveals that healing is forward motion, not backward correction. Ultimately, the Raphaelic tone teaches that wholeness is not the absence of pain. Wholeness is the presence of coherence. Pain will visit. Pain will speak. But under Raphael's flame, pain will never again define your truth. You become someone who can feel deeply without collapsing, who can remember without reliving, who can open without fear of breaking. You become the embodiment of restoration itself. And in that embodiment, Raphael does not stand above you. He stands with you. Because the secret of the Raphaelic tone is this: healing is not something given by a higher being. Healing is what happens when the deepest part of you finally agrees to come home.